recording. Hello, Professor Robert Pape. It's a pleasure to have you on Chico Unscripted, where our goal is to be able to have global thought leaders share their thoughts, their philosophies, their ideas on global matters, but how it impacts Africa, in order to help shape the minds and the hearts of the young leaders who are leading the nations of Africa, the present political leaders, the business leaders, for them to have a global mindset as they're making decisions on a day-to-day basis. My name is Amadou Chico Sissoko, and it's a great honor for me to have you, to be the first to host you, speak to an African audience about things that are happening globally, for which you are one of the experts of the day. So, Professor Pape, before we go into your presentation, I'd like you just to introduce yourself as to why is it important for an African president today, an African business leader today, an African leader to listen to what you have to say, especially at the time where we're in. So from your background to what you've accomplished and where you are today, why is it important for people to listen to you today?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's a great honor to be asked to come and talk about Africa. And this is the first time I have done that. And as we all know, Africa has not gotten very much attention. There's a lot of global consternation about what is happening here as a result of the Iran war and the global repercussions and so forth. But it really is the case that we have not seen a lot of attention to Africa. But I was really quite glad to receive this invitation. And there's two really big things I want to say. And then when I get into the presentation, I'll say a little bit more about my personal background here. But the really two big things I want to say is that what you're seeing with the Iran war is occurring in the midst of a period of time that's a hinge of history moment. This is akin to the end of the Cold War. There are global changes happening. I'll put this in some global context in just a moment. Then there's the Iran war. And this is not a tempest in a teapot. What you are going to see over the coming months and years is a hinge of history moment unfolding. And then the second big point is this is very likely, this hinge is going to envelop Africa in a really serious way. And that's because a lot of the changes that are happening globally and then the impacts for the Middle East, these are not just about temporary disruptions, although they are going to impact Africa in those ways. But there are some bigger issues involved. And that's why I really do welcome this opportunity to explain those two. And I believe for Africa's leaders, this is really a critical time because the wave hasn't quite hit yet, you see. So there's a tidal wave coming and it hasn't quite hit yet. And as although people think, well, just wait till the crisis to catch up with things. Crisis is a hard time to catch up with anything because you have too much coming in the inbox all at the same time. So I really do believe now is the right time to speak to African leaders. And I welcome this opportunity here. So thank you very much for inviting me to do this.
Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. So I will allow you to go into the presentation. I think you can share your screen. And
I'll
from
just
there
go right ahead and do that now. So just let me see if we have these windows here. It looks pretty intuitive. So people just pause for a moment. So people just give me an opportunity. I think we have the opening slide here. So what I want to talk about today is the Iran war and the return of global resource competition, and why what this means for Africa is that Africa is going to enter a new strategic era. That's what I meant by the hinge. And this is already occurring to some extent, but it's going to occur even more. Now, I have been studying escalation, war, escalation, global politics for over 30 years. I'm a professor at the University of Chicago. Before that, I taught for the U.S. Air Force. I taught at Dartmouth College. And I have been focusing on conflicts as conflicts escalate, as they escalate in the conflict itself, as they escalate from the region, as they escalate to the world. And so if you look, some of the most prominent ones I have been involved in are Kosovo, that's 1999, the forever wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Ukraine war, and then also, of course, the Iran war, which actually starts last June, but of course it's gotten extremely hot in the last few months. Now, the central question connecting these conflicts is, how do limited wars become long wars? Because the fact of the matter is, these conflicts all started out as intended to be quite limited wars, some just a couple of days. And so this really is a crucial question. And today, that's a question that increasingly includes Africa. Now, it's also important for the listeners in Africa to know that I have advised every White House, West Wing, from 2001 to 2024. That's two Republican, two Democratic White Houses. Now, not as a paid advisor, I want to underscore, I haven't had an official position here. But what I have is I have been advising from the basis of my research and as it applies to these very specific conflicts that were ongoing at the time. And this has been, of course, quite an honor. Now, this, of course, extends beyond, not of course, but also extends beyond the White House. So you can see Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Secretary of Defense. These are sitting Chancellor of Germany, when senators, Jacinda Ardern. So this is these are world leaders, and this has really just been quite an honor that my research was found valuable by so many and across multiple the political spectrum and over time. Now, most recently, I'm particularly well known for starting a Substack called the Escalation Trap just a few days before the bombing of Iran started on February 28. And I laid out what to expect. It was a detailed set of expectations. It was not just a generalized set of expectations. And you can still go to the Escalation Trap Substack and read the original articles. And you'll see that right from the get-go, I'm expecting that tactically bombs will fall, they will hit targets, they will kill leaders as they did, but then this would lead to tactical success, but strategic failure. And then that also part of that failure would be lashing back, that Iran would lash back. They would have opportunities here, take the Strait of Hormuz, and this would be quite difficult to deal with. And this fits historical patterns. This is not just unique to the Iran situation, but this would then also go further because it would create the fear of defeat. This is the fear of defeat that generates the movement of further escalation. And this is what you're seeing right now today. The United States, President Trump cannot accept a evident defeat. He's looking, and has been for months, to look for a way to declare some sort of a symbolic victory here. But the problem is that Iran is not offering him fig leaves. And in fact, Iran is gaining power, as I was explaining before the war started would happen. And this repeated cycle is leading to repeated escalation without success. And this is what keeps the momentum for the conflict going, turning it from a short war into a long war. Now, also, though, and this gets closer to issues with Africa, I laid out further with a big op-ed in the New York Times about in early April that Iran wouldn't just be lashing back, and this wasn't just about military tactics by Iran, but Iran would become an emerging fourth center of world power. That this would have quite dramatic power consequences for the globe. And that is, in fact, what you are seeing. And then the only way to really offset this would be with more military escalation. And that's basically what you have seen for the last almost 2 months now, 2.5 months, where you are seeing the administration go from escalation to non-escalation, but non-escalation means Iran's growing global power, back to escalation, and that is that feeling of being whipsawed. And unfortunately, this can go on for quite some time. This is not really constrained by the fact the world's economy is going to go into a rather dramatic crisis here in the coming months. This is about great power politics, and this is how these short wars turn into long wars with major global implications. Now, today I just want to say a few words about what the Iran war means for Africa.